Desert Oracle Radio, the voice of the desert.
Night has fallen on the desert. This land of nocturnal wonder. I don't mean the potholed parking lots of Yucca Valley and its 90% vacant commercial and retail strip, and not the traffic jam getting out of the national park once the sun goes down. Not too much wonder within such scenes, although just looking up from your phone can give you a glimpse into another world. I walked outside with my coffee and a book the other day, and the enormous gopher snake that lives under the house was in repose in the shade. A foot-long bulge in its belly about halfway down, wherever they keep the belly on a snake. This old snake knows me pretty well and did not budge, so I sat down on the porch and opened the book, but it was hard to get back into it. With the new mystery so strongly upon my mind right in front of me, who did the gopher snake eat? The reality of knowing the wild animals on your land is knowing that they generally live on an accelerated timeline. The new crop of Mojave cottontails and rock squirrels each spring will shrink to one or two lucky buddies by late summer, with the rest of them succumbing to reckless road crossings and red-tailed hawks and rattlesnakes, the local ravens, feasting on the remains if there are any. Was that a rock squirrel slowly digesting within this 6-foot-long yellow and chocolate-colored gopher snake? A pack rat? A wood rat? A mourning dove? A gopher snake, which can be any of the 9 subspecies endemic to North America, is a great friend to the homesteader, keeping not only the rodents in check, including the various mice who carry the hantavirus, but also claiming territory from rattlers in your vicinity, which have their role in the world, of course, but it's foolish to let rattlers get comfortable around your habitation. Let them work the back acreage, the back country, or that one weird neighbor's property several acres over. More than once I found a young gopher snake dazed in the road and brought it home to thrive on the endless supply of the desert's small rodents around any kind of household. I do love to see the kangaroo rats bopping around, the little deer mice, and especially the antelope ground squirrel. But everybody's got to eat now and then. One of my favorite little mouse friends is a vicious predator. The grasshopper mouse tears apart centipedes and scorpions and even feasts upon the scorpion stinger, the stinger full of venom, which, as I've told many wide-eyed people sitting around desert campfires over the years, gives the grasshopper mouse a strange narcotic high. The hoot-hoot of the great horned owl fills me with ancient thoughts of mystery, of wisdom, of the divine, but it haunts the rodents. It haunts any small creature running around after the sun goes down. It hypnotizes them when close by. They try to reason. They try to triangulate the hooting with the environment around them. Is it coming from behind? Is the sound just bouncing around the boulders? Oh God, where is it coming from? And then it's too late. It's over. Another weird owl pellet of fur and bone for an amazed child to find days or weeks or months later. Why, look at that, little Johnny. The whole tail is still in there, and those are its little feet. Time calls for all of us eventually. And sometimes it sounds like an owl. The film director and overall artist David Lynch passed away only a few months back now. And I saw an announcement about some Hollywood auction house selling off his household goods, his possessions, his personal stuff. And because his house contained a music studio and a woodworking shop and film editing decks and all manner of audio-visual gear, from the unique to the cheap, all held within a couple of neighboring houses he accumulated on Mulholland Drive over the decades. Many of these items may find new life with other musicians, designers, photographers, movie makers. Maybe somebody on TikTok will start shooting everything with Lynch's old 16mm film camera. Who knows? But it saddened me seeing a life reduced to its pieces with starting bids of $50 or $100. Movie scripts and book collections, record players, and a dozen different espresso makers. It especially got me down to see the things David Lynch had kept from his father. His dad's old flannel shirts and rucksack from hiking in the Northwest. Even his dad's military keepsakes. Even the tri-corner American flag that the family takes home after a U.S. military veteran is buried. Might not a descendant of David Lynch, who was also a descendant of Donald Lynch, forest ranger and forestry scientist, want to keep such small things that speak of the lives of one's forefathers, one's forebears? I believe someone such as David Lynch, who made such a lasting impact on the world's culture over his 8 decades of life and will likely maintain that position for at least another generation or two, should be remembered properly in a proper museum. Or any museum, a Hollywood museum for tourists and film buffs, or a spot in the Smithsonian in Washington, or a permanent exhibit at LACMA, LA's Museum of Modern Art. Maybe such things are in progress, I don't know. But before I sold everything off, I'd find a room with good windows, with good exposure to the golden Los Angeles sunlight, and put together a version of his workshop with the furniture that he made by hand, his coffee cups and ashtrays, his shelves full of his movie and art books, his many religious and spiritual texts, from the Oxford Bible to the complete prophecies of Nostradamus. A selection of his guitars and noise pedals and keyboards and speakers, buzzsaws and table saws show people the world of a working artist working all his life on this or that project. Whether a culture-defining television series or a weird bunch of food cans he decorated for a forgotten music video. Paintings and lithographs and photographs and film posters framed on the walls, reel-to-reel decks and microphones, his director's chair. Maybe his children divvied up the good stuff. Maybe the auction was just leftover stuff. Makes me wonder what my own children might want from the junk that I've accumulated. And I hardly have anything these days. I could move out in an afternoon, just me and a hand truck and a U-Haul, and I've done it before and I'll do it again. And lately I've been thinning out what little is even here, too, preparing for the last move, I tell myself, although I don't believe anything is the last until a person is not around to know better. I've lived in this house for a half dozen years and never even hung up a painting. Closets full of art, some of it even good art. Gotta get that stuff sold, clear it out. Some of it's even worth a little bit, although never as much as you hope, never as much as you need. But it's mostly books around here, books overflowing from every shelf, every room. They've long since taken over the kitchen counters, any flat surface. And I'll get rid of many of them, most of them maybe, over these next several months. Get rid of anything I never finished, anything I finished and did not like. It'll still be half the truck, the endless moving boxes of books, but at least it'll be down to a couple hundred or so that matter, that I like to have around, whether to read again, to open up for divination, or just to look at, to remind me what I learned from this one or that one, where it led me, what it warned of. Boxes of newspaper clippings, photo albums too, probably a dozen or two, the best ones filled with mysterious snapshots or darkroom prints from around the world. Covering a century and a half when you include the handful of pictures I still have from my grandparents, great-grandparents, my parents, thousands of years of ancestors condensed down to a single 1970s photo album with yellowed glue strips on the pages and brittle leaves of yellowing plastic as protective cover. Somewhere there's a ragged box of old laptops and hard drives that will likely never be accessed again. Each generation of laptop ever more filled with photographs, abandoned manuscripts, love letters, PDF files of old mortgages, court papers, property surveys, closing statements, hundreds of memory cards, various formats, and ever-increasing capacities. Once I grabbed a random memory card and stuck it in my camera and wiped it out before realizing it was a 20-megabyte card from 20 years ago that had the only recordings of a record's worth of songs I'd composed and put down in a home studio somewhere. Was that in Reno? Who knows, and ultimately who cares? I don't really care now. So who would possibly care after I'm gone? For a lot of people these days, their world is mostly defined by and recalled by the various media products they passively consumed while growing up. I see people online mourning the disappearance of their favorite childhood TV shows, cartoons, because a corporation somewhere decided to delete it all, remove it from any public access for a tax write-off or whatever. And then people want the DVD, and it's $200 on eBay.
Desert Oracle Radio.
Entire lives, whole lives, billions of lives on Earth, mostly documented and recorded on cell phones, which will be reformatted and wiped clean if the phone even makes it that far. I was wasting time. And at this point, it's really wasting time. Looking at a social network on the computer when I had work to do, and I came across something that plunged me into such sadness, and I still haven't shaken it. Many nights later, a week later. And I don't even want to get into it, but the thought that stuck with me was that this person's young life was over, and the phone they used to communicate with the world, to try to get somebody's attention, that phone was at the bottom of a cold, dark river somewhere, with the person. I don't know how we got to such a point where so many people have nobody at all. Which is why I was saying last week on this broadcast that this broadcast has always been about enchantment. That's why it comes on the radio late at night, 10 p.m. Fridays in the high desert on KCDZ 107.7 FM and Valley 104.9. Out of Carnation in Kings County, Washington State, 8 p.m. Sundays. But it's on the radio at night, and maybe in your ears at night, if that's when you listen to the podcast, so that the daytime world and its blandness and bureaucracy can be forgotten for a while, put aside. That's why I tell stories about the wild desert, wilderness and nature, the birds and the bees. That's why I dig up old tales from history, mythology, the prophets, the poets. Why I believe, as other romantics of my time and times past, that in wild nature we can glimpse the world of the wild animals, of the boulders and the tree and the cactus. Their existence lived in a kind of continuous euphoria. The old magic of life, the life we are born into to experience in that way and have to work real hard to avoid. But we can break free of the grim gray palette of the modern world, the gloomy, gray, boring movies and TV shows, the gray, fake wooden floors, the flat, gray corporate workspace, the gray nowhere, of being zonked out on pharmaceuticals. When we break free, then we can break free of the world of death. Reject the death world, demand the world of the living while you're alive, the world of color, of beauty, of wildness, and other such joy. It can be as fleeting and accessible as a walk to a little park where the birds are flitting about and the flowers are blooming, or as dramatic as quitting your dull job and moving to the wilderness to live a life that makes you feel alive. Why not? In the meantime, go see a Shakespeare play. They're usually in the parks this time of the year. They're usually free. Go alone if you want. It's fine. You might even meet somebody. Go walk on the waterfront. You might even witness something crazy, like a Mexican naval sailing ship crashing into the Brooklyn Bridge. Or most likely, you'll just have a nice time. Go see a quartet playing Bartok. Go dance to the DJs. You can maybe go see the famous neo-disco DJ duo called the Flying Mojito Brothers. They're touring around. Listen to their new album, already piling up the rave reviews. It's called Just Passing Through on Ubiquity Records. That's the one I'm on, the title track. And this isn't it because I can't play it because it will get shut down. Well, this track you're hearing is by Red, Blue, Black, Silver. Go find him on Bandcamp. I've been on some different artist records over the past half dozen years, which is always fun. But this Flying Mojito Brothers record, that's the first sort of disco record I've done. I like it. I hope you like it too. I should mention the website that Desert Oracle is represented by, desertoracle.com, where you can order what's left of the back issues. Desert Oracle, yellow vinyl, Arizona sun-tested bumper stickers. And from there, you can click over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Desert Oracle, where a couple of hundred listeners support the show, the few and the proud, amongst the tens of thousands who listen to each episode. And I also appreciate the anti-Patreon people who will send a check or even a $100 bill, which I'm still carrying around because nobody will break it, to our P.O. Box in Joshua Tree. That's Desert Oracle, Box 1735, Joshua Tree, California, 92252. But I also know times are tough for lots of us. There are always kinda tough times for the oddballs anyway, the night people. Just leaving a nice review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or on our newish YouTube channel, where all 244 episodes so far are available with absolutely no video to distract you and at no cost. Well, that's a contribution too. And one that can really do something too. You can shape the soft minds of the public, whoever they are. Finally, I need to make a correction. A couple of weeks ago on the Father Crowley show, the Tales of the Desert Padre of the Owens Valley, the Eastern Sierra, I was riffing at the end of the program, and I had a couple of different roadside marker locations in front of me, and I mixed up the location of the Father Crowley Memorial Cross with the location of a Clampers monument just across the highway at the Walker Pass turnoff. So if you want to see what remains of the Father Crowley Cross on your next drive up or down California State 14, well, it's just before the 178 junction. And the actual cross, I've learned, I've seen it many times myself, but it has been removed by the state scolds, I suppose, in the last couple of years. And they say it's now in Ridgecrest, which I have not verified. But on the northbound side of the 14, that's at the corner of the State Route 14 and a dirt road, Shurite Road, that's Shurite, and I'll stop next time I'm passing through next week, and I'll take a picture of what's left. There had been a plain wooden cross that some good soul had put up after the big metal cross was taken down after so many decades of harming absolutely no one. Thanks for listening, and good night from the voice of the desert.